All right, guys, we're going to do this lovely little bauble wreath inside of a glass ball. And I'm going to try something new for the background. And I have an answer to a question that was asked in the chat before the video started. Let's get going. All right, so I am Stephanie. This is Deliberately Creative. We are having a lovely little chat and painting session here on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining me here. I am going to be working on this little bauble ornament wreath. I have drawn up these 31 cute and creative hand-drawn winter ornaments that you can print and color. You can also use these as traceables. And I had someone ask me, how do you get a design onto your watercolor paper to be watercolored? My quickest answer to that is to take, let's see here, do I have one that's not, there we go. So I have, this is from my Snowmen and Friends coloring book. This is also on Instagram. This is also on Teespring. And if you look at the top of the chat, there's a link to the Teespring store. This book here is in the Teespring store also. Inexpensive when you figure there's 31 designs in here. There's 25 designs in this book. So for $6, you know, you can't hardly pass that up, right? But to get these designs transferred, I would take graphite or chalk and rub it on the back of my drawing, and then grab a piece of watercolor paper, lay it down, and trace over it. Let's see if I can. I don't see my big, really graphite-y pencil hanging out right here. So, you know, and that's what you really need. You need something. Whoa, I just turned off the light. Sometimes things like that happen when you're looking around for stuff. I don't think that the watercolor pencil will transfer. So, graphite or chalk on the back, lay it down, and then just draw over the top of it with a pencil or a pen. And that will transfer it on. Then if you want it to be black line, you just trace over those lines with your waterproof pen. Now I'm using, for all of these drawings here, these are the originals. I am painting on my original artwork that I used for the books. So the Eco Pen is what I'm using. It is waterproof, it is alcohol pen proof, and it dries almost instantly. The only trick with this is that you do need to make sure that you keep the little rubber cap so that you can, one, protect yourself from getting poked, because it is kind of a needle tip, and two, it keeps the end from getting dry and crunchy, and it allows your pen to easily, see right now, there it goes. How the tip sometimes can get a little dry, even with the cap on. So I hope that helps. If I look for anything on my craft shelf, it always falls. Oh, absolutely, Amy. All right, I want to do a background on here that's different than anything I've ever done before. And I'm thinking maybe we'll try and do some wood grain. I'm trying to figure out a way. This is a little too yellow, but I want to keep it light with just a touch of darkness going into it. So sort of over here in this range, I think. Maybe a little bit of some sepia tones. I don't know. But first we need to get basically that yellowy, yellow ochre type background on. Hello, Sherry. You've got to get the books. Yes, the link is at the top of the chat here, but I can also drop it right here. If you go to my Teespring store, you will get all of my products will show up. I'm going to do this with the yellow ochre. And before I start, I need to start my phone so that I can get my video for my Tangy also. There we go. Haha, I remembered before I started painting it all in. So I'm grabbing some of this yellow ochre and I'm going to kind of dry brush on. My brush is a little bit wet. I am going to get some of that yellow going on here inside of the back behind the ball and inside the ball. But I'm not going to make it the total wood grain inside the ball. I'm going to say the ball is actually blurring it out a little bit. But I want to try and get some of this color going on sort of in stripes, sort of like wood. And yeah, how's everybody doing this evening? Yes, I would say if you try and print right onto watercolor paper, do a test. Do one piece. Cut it to an 8.5 by 11. Feed it through on the heaviest cardstock setting you've got for your printer. And do it on the draft mode, because that way it will... Yeah, that's really bright. See, I want it bright enough so that it doesn't get dull looking, but let's see. Maybe if we tip it up a little bit. That's a little better. Doing it on the draft mode will put less ink from your printer on the paper. You should still be able to see what you're doing. And then take your waterproof pen, whatever kind, micron pen, Pitt pen, Eco pen, whatever you happen to have. And then go over all your lines with your waterproof pen, if you want that look. If you don't, if you do it on the draft mode and put it on, I think what will happen is that you will end up with your design just sort of bleeding out, and that might not be a bad thing. So as always, it's experiment, guys. Experiment, but don't print the whole book. Without testing how it's going to look when you end up, with the actual design on the paper. So let's see here. Right now I'm just getting some of that undertone of my wood. So Sherry, you've got... So Sherry, you're down here in Vancouver, Washington, and you've got a niece up near Vancouver, Canada, right? Is that what you're saying? Abbotsford is right up there by Canada, right up there in Canada, right by Vancouver, I think. It's all Pacific Northwest. All right, I think I'm leaving a little bit of some white. I'm still just going back and forth with that sort of yellow ochre color. And if it gets a little darker in some spots and a little lighter in some spots, that's okay, because I need to work some variations in tone. So are you guys having a good evening? This is a paint and chat Saturday. Let me know if this time works for you. I know for some it's getting a little bit late. It's gone about 11, a little bit after 11 p.m. on the East Coast in the United States. It's kind of going into the, let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 in the morning in the UK. So I don't think we're going to have many from the UK here this time. The later I go in the evening, the earlier it is in the morning, or later in the morning it is in the UK. But it's, let's see, about 3 in the afternoon in Sydney, Australia right now. Tomorrow, Sunday, I think. And up in Western Australia, it would be around 11 in the morning. If Leanne happens to show up, she'll be able to tell me what time it is. So yeah, this is, oh, that's actually looking pretty good. I think I want to start working a little bit of some other browns in here maybe. Kind of start, I know my paper is still wet, so I'm kind of just going to put stripes of a little bit browner color. It's still pretty yellowy. Just trying to get kind of an idea that there's a wood grain going on. Maybe this is in front of a, you know, hanging off the bottom of an actual wreath. We're working this in layers. But I am working kind of wet onto wet now. I'm keeping my paint and my brush fairly dry-ish. Your daughter-in-law is from Abbotsford but lives in this Vancouver now. Oh, how wonderful. Yeah, it's... We have friends up in West Bank in Kelowna, BC. And I miss that we didn't get to go up there this summer and visit. I miss that they didn't get to come down and visit. So there we go. I'm just working these colors across. I think that the actual ball is, or the baubles inside are going to be, I'm going to try and do those really jewel tones, like sapphire blue, the magenta, going for sapphire blue. Yeah, sapphire blue, ruby red, and maybe emerald green, or something along those lines. Through the ball is going to actually be just sort of blurred out. It can get a little bit of the darker tones in there. Yeah, it's kind of fun having such an international group. I love it. I love that our people in this community are so caring and so positive. For my patrons out there that are joining me, your patron reward cards, your holiday, winter, thank you, all of the above cards with a little surprise in them, went out in the mail today, finally. The postal carrier did not pick them up yesterday. They drove right past and did not stop yesterday. So today was I was watching, and so was Mark. So was my husband. It's 9:30 p.m. in Albuquerque, so your mountain time. Sorry, 9:15 p.m. out mountain time. Yeah, we're Pacific time here in Washington State. And Oregon. And California too. So anyway, just getting some fun, easy, blurring it out as I go to the inside of the ball. There might be a little indication that there's some stripy grainness. I want to keep it out of focus behind here. So I am using, if anybody's interested, I'm still using that 42 color Superior watercolor palette. I'm not mixing my colors too much. I'm just using my convenience colors. And it is really convenient. Letting my brush kind of splay out a little bit. Try and get a little bit more sort of wood feel in here. I don't want it to be too, I don't know. I don't want it to look too made. Too made? Too made. I'm not sure what I was trying to say there. I'm trying to make it look a little bit more real. Not totally real is what I'm trying to get to. It's a little bit real-ish. But not perfect. And I'm not making it photoreal. Just want that feeling. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Will I be doing any in-person classes? I will not say never, but for the time being, no. For the time being, no. There won't be any in-person classes. But at some point, maybe. It's kind of fun. I used to do art classes for middle school students. And I used to do demos in stores of art materials as kind of a side job. Back when there was a Paper Zone store. Oh, I like that. That effect right there, I like that. Pushing the color around a little bit with my brush. Okay, I think we're doing well. I think I want to get a little bit of a darker tone in here. And I'm trying to think which way I want to go. I think I want to go towards the sepia brown-ish tone. That one down here. There's another color laying on top of it because I did that. I did another color. This was, I'm going to sort of bring that, kind of let it blur out just a little bit. There we go. Not too strong. Letting it blur. Start getting a little bit of a wood tone effect. Yes, this is live. So I'm taking a quick look back here. See. Yep, for the time being, I think many of us are trying to be very responsible and pretty much living in a bubble. For my son just had his 34th birthday yesterday, and I asked him what he would like. Because I said, I could send him over a gift card for a restaurant that he could get delivery from, or I could make him a big pot of soup. He actually said he wanted the pot of soup. So I made a big batch of chicken soup with potatoes and carrots and onions and sweet potatoes. I thought that was, it was kind of nice. And then I had it all packaged up in to-go containers and sitting in a bag on the front porch. And we all he masked up, Mark and I masked up, and we chatted on the front porch, fully 6 feet away from each other, everybody masked up. Yeah, that worked out pretty well. So yeah, I am going through the glass a little bit as I'm doing that. Just getting some more of that grain going, but then I'm softening it up inside. See how this is starting to feel a little bit like it's in front of this wood. Some indication of that grain. Question?
Yep. He wants to know if the Eco Pens are more like gel pens or ballpoint pens.
The Eco Pen is a roller ball pen, and I would say it's not like a gel pen, but it's more like a gel pen than it is like a like, it's not like ballpoint ink, but it is a roller ball pen. And I do know that there are places in the world it will send to, and there's places in the world it won't. I don't have any control over that because I'm not the manufacturer. I just happen to like the pen and I can get it where I am. So, am I still working on this wood grain kind of effect? Yep. Am I having fun doing it? Uh-huh. See how it's just working its way in, not doing too much. I'm working with the paint pretty dry, and I'm not picking up a ton of pigment on my brush. So I love Gina's here, and Amy's here, and Mark, and Jan, and Kristen, and Malik, and Jasmine. Thank you. If you're new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified when new videos go up. I am doing all 31 of these designs as videos on my YouTube channel here. See, I need a little bit more dark, kind of going up this way, and maybe coming across on the inside, and then I'll soften it out. And you do get to a point where you might want to dry. I'm just softening that up just a little bit on the inside, just so it feels like those colors are back behind. I don't have a reference for a ball sitting in front of a wooden background, so I'm kind of making it up as I go along. Those stripes up here, I want to get a little bit more color into them. Let the tip of your brush catch, and if it lays ink or paint down, let it lay the paint down. Let's see. There we go. All right. And then I'm going to soften that up. Just have a little indication of some color back inside there. There we go. I'm going to dry it. Something to make it feel a little bit more real is make sure that when you take your colors, make sure they go all the way off the edge of your paper. See, I needed to put a little bit more dark back into these since they started drying. I see that it needed a little bit more contrast. Now, I'm not looking at this completely, but I'm getting ideas about how the colors can like alternate in stripes, and they'll sort of move across at different angles. I'm not looking at this specifically painting it, obviously. But I want to keep the background sort of mid-tone so that way I can go dark and light on the ball and it will feel more fun. Goes too fast to read. Oh, the chat? Sometimes it does. I like that you guys are in here having a really nice time. I'm having a lovely time with you here also. It's kind of fun. I've got Mark here so he can keep track of things for me today. All right. I want to dry this really quick. And I'm using a heat tool, and that helps to stop the paint from moving completely. It just, boom, stops it. You can use your hairdryer on a higher heat, or you can just let it dry, but your paint might move a little bit. Things might blur a little bit. Not too bad. It's almost Sunday. Yeah, it's 11:24 on the East Coast time. But it's only 8:27 p.m. my time, so I love that this is a really great group. Hello, Mona Mora. Nice to meet you. And thank you. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. If anybody's interested and hasn't seen yet, I do have all 31 designs that I'm doing this month in this little book. And it's available on my Teespring store. So I'll paste that. Right. Come on. There we go. I'll paste that into my Teespring, or into the chat for the Teespring store. There we go. I did a massive 31 drawing. Okay, I'll flip it. I'll flip it open a little bit. A massive 31 drawing marathon. And came up with all of these drawn onto watercolor paper. This is 140-pound cotton watercolor paper by Arteza. And the paints are like I said, the Superior fan palette. And I might use a little bit of the Arteza metallics on top to give some shimmer. Maybe. I don't know. It all depends. I'm looking at that now and going, I want to start working on those little baubles. And I want to get a variety of the basically red, green, and blue. And so I'm using kind of a magenta color. This is the darkest version of it. And I'm not coloring them in completely. So that way I've got some white highlights that can be bouncing around. I can move the color around after. There isn't going to be a ribbon on the inside. This is inside of another ornament, so it's an ornament wreath inside of an ornament. But I'm just going to bounce around and put the colors in. We will be using, sorry about that. We will be using the white gouache to put in some of the highlights and the overall highlights over the ball. But to start off with, I'm trying to leave a few little spots of white. And I don't have these mapped out. I'm just putting the color in. I probably will add a little bit of a shadow in underneath of many of them where they're overlapping. And no big deal if the paint kind of gets on things. How should I should tell how I met Mark? I met my husband because a friend of mine at church wanted to make another boy jealous. And so she invited Mark which, I mean, which really is not a nice thing. And why would somebody at church be doing that? But, you know, we're high schoolers. So I was 17. I was 17 just, and he was 18, and we were seniors in high school. And we went to a high schoolers retreat. Oh, I probably don't want that one there. I'm trying to not have the colors touching, but you know. There we go. And the last day of the last night before we were leaving, because the entire time he thought I was the younger sister of one of the other kids, because there were a couple younger siblings that had come. And we were talking about going to college and things like that, and he was like, "Wait, what?" Because I was very small, you know, very petite. I was 5'2" and about 114 pounds dripping wet. So, and then we were playing, the very last day before we were leaving, we were playing a game of tag touch football. And he had the ball and I was trying to get the ball, and he tried to keep it away from me, and he twisted on his toe and he sprained his toe. So because he did that, he needed help getting up and off the field, and then somebody tucked one of my sweaters into his bag. We never found out exactly who did that. But so yeah, we were high school senior sweethearts. See, I'm just letting the paint run out on my brush, and I'm getting some variations in tone, different colored balls. Yeah, he's the only boy I ever dated. Let's put it, you know, just bluntly right there. He's the only guy I ever dated, you know, as a boyfriend. I had gone to one dance my sophomore year. I went to the junior-senior prom because the senior, well, I guess he must have been desperate to ask me to go to the prom, and then he promptly did not pay any attention to me. So I hung out with friends that were seniors and did not let him kiss me when he dropped me off at home. So, you know, lots of memories. And then we went to college at the same community college, Mark and I. And I went for computer programming and data processing, and so he went for that too. And then I ended up getting a job before I graduated. I was supposed to be a junior programmer, but they had me doing data processing, basically data entry, catching them up on like 6 months of backlog, and then they laid me off, which was really a bummer, but that's okay. I like that color combination. That's really nice. Good night, Gina. You take care. Have fun. Mark's going to watch for the trolls. Absolutely. Let's see here. I'm going to go with, let's see if that blue, I don't know, that blue's not quite dark enough. And that one is, ooh, there we go. Maybe a combination of those two blues. I like this blue. It says it's a violet. Could be. It's kind of a violet. So I'm going to go in and just start painting some of these in. So there we go. It's not as exciting. My life, you know, is not terribly exciting, but that's okay, because you know what? Sometimes a less than exciting life gives you more room to have your own ideas, your own creativity can come through then. Right now, this looks like red, white, and blue. It looks like something that could be a 4th of July, or it could be a Britannia Day, or it could be, if there is such a thing. I'm not sure if there's such a thing. I think there's a Britannia Day. Let's see, I want to make sure that I leave a couple of the big ones on top for green, but I think that one needs to be green, and that one needs to be green. This one can be blue. Actually, that one should have been green because it's right next to a blue one. But you know what? Balls like this, ornament arrangements, the balls all slip around the metal ring. So it is what it is. Yeah, we've been married for a long time. Well, our son we've been married for 36 years because our son just turned 34. I think I'll put blue one there. There may end up being a 4th color that gets tossed in for some of these. I think I want to put the green on now and then continue working. Yeah, there's a lot of things. The color that I'm using, Kathy, the the fan palette of 42 colors by Superior Watercolor. Many different companies on Amazon sell it, and the price can vary greatly from $12 to $20 for the same exact palette. So if you click my Amazon link down below and go to Amazon through my link, I will get credit for you going to Amazon. You don't have to buy the one that I have actually linked in the Arts tab, but if you click on it, it will get you started on finding the one that has the best price. So, and it's a nice little palette. The only colors that I've found that are that tend to fade, because I did do a color test, and that is on my on one of my playlists, and it's the fan palette color test, and I did it for several months in my window and let these sit and fade if they did. The only ones that faded were anything that had the purpley color to it. So the C36, C37, C33, C19, C18, and the C12, which is the magenta color. Those were the ones that faded on me. So pretty much anything that was a purple tone faded. But other than that, it doesn't really matter when you're doing it for cards. So at least to me, it doesn't matter when I'm doing it for cards. Let's see. I think I'm going to go for this green. It's kind of a really nice, deep green. The brush that I'm using is the number 12 round Mimic by Creative Mark. And let's see if I'm still lined up for that side view. I'm not. Let's see. There. So here you can see I'm just barely touching, and I'm leaving places for highlight. Yeah, you cannot barely see that. Little bit bright, isn't it? I'll be deepening up some of the tones in these. This is the first pass, because the blue went a little bit washed out. I want a bit deeper tone to it. I am working around without doing the without worrying too much about if I'm going next to a color that might be wet. My paint is fairly dry-ish. I think I'm going to go back to the top down. This is just too bright today. And I'm not going to mess with it. See, that's much better. Let's see. Get that back over there. So I hope that you are having a really great evening, guys. I love everybody being here. Hello, Kung Fu Panda Songs. And do I varnish this paint? No, I do not varnish watercolors, especially on paper. I didn't really want to do that there. Oh well, we've got two green ones next to each other. That's just the way it went. If you want to, there is a product called Dorland's Wax, and you can seal your watercolors with that. I don't have any. I guess if you wanted to, you could try using a matte spray varnish. I don't know why you would. Basically, watercolor you would put under glass. So if you're working in standard size, like 5x7, you can put this straight into a 5x7 picture frame, and you don't have to worry about it getting reactivated or anything like that. Looking at that, it's like I like the balance pretty much. I want to add another color. There might be two more colors. You know, kind of like those Christmas trees where you get thank you, Nikki. We are. I believe that. Mark and I are a match made in heaven. He is my best friend. But I need to get another color on here. And I think maybe I'm just going to go with a different green. Kind of maybe this sort of acid green here. So it's kind of like a yellow being on there without it being yellow. So that way it is... Yeah, I like that. It's bright, but it's green, so it won't blend into this background. This background is very yellow. I did not actually pre-wet my paper for this one. I laid down the yellow ochre color first and then built up a couple layers of that, and then took some sepia brown and some burnt sienna browns and kind of work those in to make my grain. So let's see. And thank you so much for being here. Make sure and click that like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video with your friends. I am working on getting to that 100,000 mark. I know I keep talking about it, but you know what? Sometimes when you talk about things and share your intention with the world and the universe hears it and makes it happen. So I'm just fitting some of those brighter yellowy green. Oh, that's a pretty color combination. I like that. Am I going to take Christmas evening off? I don't know. Maybe. Mark was trying to get me to take the weekend off because I worked really, really hard because of the, getting that book completely made. Oh, and I am just waiting for Amazon to approve it. My coloring book, which is a physical coloring book, like this one, a physical book with pages. Oh, and this is my Fun Floral Mandalas coloring book, 50 designs in here. And then I made this one into an actual printed coloring book that you can buy from Amazon as soon as they approve it. So I'm waiting for approval on it, but it's basically this book and it's the same size. So it's 5.5 by 8.5. So I hope that is, whoa, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There we go. I hope that's helpful. Yeah, the apple green just sort of makes it all pop. I am looking at this going, I need maybe just to fit some of that darker green. And this is really just coloring with the watercolor. Put a bit of dark green back there. I think we'll put a dark green right here. I'm going to put a little bit of water on that one now. Sort of flow it around just a little bit. I think I'm going to tuck a little bit of dark green right down in there. You know, just tuck the colors in where it makes sense to you. Don't worry too much. Don't fuss too much. I think I will grab my, my skinny brush, my little brush. Come on. There. So this is a number 2 round mimic. And I'm just going to take some colors down deep inside. Make a really dark blue one maybe. Just picking the color up really heavy on my brush. Trying to make it not so washy. But you know what? Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Hello, Jackie Cherry. I have seen your name on my comments. So thank you so much for coming into one of the live streams. I am trying to do these paintings. Most of them will be live. As long as YouTube is giving me, serving my videos out to people, I think what I want to do is take a little bit of that blue and the red, the magenta, together. Because I want to get a little bit of a shadow going down here. There we go. A little bit of a shadow. Since that ball is behind everything, but there's still highlights on it. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in even closer. It's like, Amy, you were supposed to tell me to zoom in. All right, Nancy, thank you so much for being here. Enjoy a good night's sleep. Just taking some of that darker tone, just working it around in a few spots where it would make sense that it might be a little bit darker. On the underside of things. There we go. See how that just starts to make those pop up a little bit. Just a tiny bit of a darker color. And I have this is a piece of plastic Coroplast. It's a plastic signboard material that's corrugated just like the corrugated cardboard. I think that one's just going to become dark down inside. Have fun with this and don't stress about it too much. Just if things start getting a little out of hand, just set it aside. Some of this can be a little bit fiddly. It's up to you how much you do. If you put highlights in, if you put shadows in, it's up to you to do that. There's nobody that's going to come to your house and say, oh, you did it wrong. You know? So have fun with it. Your creativity, your world, and remember, it's just a piece of paper. And if things don't work out, it's okay. What's the theme of the new book? That it's all holiday ornaments. So the new one is actually this book. The new printable one. It's all of these. So you can paint them up. I leave lots of room on the page. It makes it, it feels really simple. But look, that's what all that was on here was. That's all that was on this piece of paper. Okay? So I leave room for you to use your imagination and make things into the way you want it to be. I think that that is a much nicer way to go. I'm going to take more of the blue into that magenta, make it more of a purpley tone, so that I can do my shadow on my blue balls now. Because if you think about it, the blue balls are reflecting some of that red. Yeah, I love the community here. It is a very loving and caring group of people. And I like to think that it's, we're drawn together because of our love for other people. And the care. I mean, really. I think we get drawn into, I've got a white one right there. Maybe that will be you know how sometimes there's a special ball that ends up on all of your trees, no matter what the color combination is? Or that special ornament that even if you're doing a very themed tree, that, whatever that ornament is, has to be on the tree somewhere. So maybe that will be a little gold ball. Just one random gold ball. But look at that. I mean, we're just dabbing in colors here and there, and you start getting that feel of the shadow going. The highlights. Move the paint around a little bit. There's very little water on this brush. Hello, Detlef. Detlef. In Germany. Well, it's very early in the morning in Germany, isn't it? I think I'm going to grab kind of a little bit of an olivey green to work as my shadow on that apple green. Oh, that works. Yay. I didn't test it first. I should always test my colors first, but do I? No, I just let it fly. Let it fly, let it try. Let it fly, let it try. I always try. Sometimes my guess on color might be off. But more often than not, I get a pretty good guess. See, that's a pretty good guess, huh? Works pretty well for a shadow. Now, once you've played with your palette for a while, you start to learn what colors actually go with what colors. And some of that is just playing and figuring out as you're moving along. See? Ah, Jan's got some German. I have enough German to be able to look at words and kind of figure out what they mean sometimes. But I have very limited, very elementary German. And it's mostly because of the, the etymology of the words. Kind of roots, the Germanic root of certain words and such are the same in English as they are in German. So, because English is one of those languages that's a mishmash of everybody else's languages, it feels like. But not enough to make it, not enough to make it so that you can easily learn everybody else's languages, and certainly not enough that anybody else can easily learn English. English is one of the hardest languages in the world for native speakers of other countries because it makes absolutely no sense. There's too many rules that have exceptions to basically make it that English has no rules. Although it has rules, but, it's weird. Yes, many English and German words are very similar. We had the United States has had or English has had a lot of influence from Germany and German words. Okay, I'm looking at that going, all right, I'm going to grab a different dark green. And kind of drop it down in around some of these green ones. It's actually a brighter green. And I'm just picking colors up and dropping them in. And I think that's good. So now what I want to do is maybe grab just a touch of this brighter yellow to go on. And maybe I'll just make that one a bright yellow. To go on to some of these greens, I'm just taking some yellow. Because I want to punch them up just a little bit. They're feeling a little bit flat. A little bit cold. I want them to be warmed up a little bit. And I also like the layers of color. Oh, that's pretty. That is pretty. All right. Well, so in that case, I'm going to take a little bit of, maybe a touch of this orangey tone, because I want that to be that other color, the one odd ornament, the one that always ends up being on the tree, no matter what color. Let's see. Maybe warm up the red with a little bit of orange. Just warm it up just a little bit because it was a little cold. And it also then makes that orange just a little bit more there we go. And this is just playing and putting color down, building up layers, and just having fun, and just a calm, quiet time. Although, I'm seriously thinking, let's see, I need a little bit of yellow on that one. Warm it up, warm it up. A little bit of dark blue. It's 12 a.m. where you are, Medina. Lovely. So are you on the East Coast then? Or are you up in Canada? All right, so let's see here. I need blue to brighten up that blue. See, by taking these different blues and things, and different colors, you know, putting different orange and such on, it makes it feel like light is bouncing around and causing these to have, you know, there's different, maybe there's different lights in the room. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. And that one back there needs to go much darker. In Michigan. Ah. All right. I like that. And yeah, I do have some randomy colors here. I'm actually going to set that aside. I'm going to grab a couple of the, so I've got the metallic colors here, and I'm thinking on the blue, I'm actually going to do this sort of purple metallic shimmer, and on the red, I think maybe I'll just do this sheer pink. I just want to get a little shimmer going on here. I don't really want to overtake all the colors, but I want a few of them to sparkle. So starting off here, it's going to look, you know, just wet. But it's fun to, you know, play with things and see if something works. And you know what? We're experimenting. We're creating something that's never existed before in real space. So there was a little drop of water that was on the ferrule of the brush. That's this metal bit right here. And instead of having it drop on my painting, I tapped it off into the pan. All right. Yeah, shimmer. You know, gotta have a little shimmer. It's just a bit here and there. We're gonna have some of that violet shimmer going on to the blue things. The blue things. So that's that right there. I want to keep it fairly light. I don't really want to change the color too much. And the shimmer will show up best over the darker colors. So that's why I'm going on the green or the red and the blue. The shimmer actually makes them look even more like blueberries. And I am going to put a little bit of gouache on to there we go. Well, let's see. Maybe we'll go with that sort of green gold color right here. It takes a little bit to get the paint activated. These are the Arteza 24 pan set of metallic colors, and I don't know if I've got it listed down below. I might still have it listed down below. If I don't, I will list it. And I'm just putting it on to all the greens. All the greens. Just because it's fun. And yeah, I am taking my time doing this tonight, guys. I am not, you know, rushing through. If you can't stay for the whole time, that's okay. I would really appreciate if you would make sure that you have clicked that like button, because YouTube will share my videos out more to people who like things like you do. So if you like my video, maybe other people who watch videos like you do will like it too. And then YouTube will then share it with them. YouTube is kind of interesting like that. All right. So now it's all wet right now, so it's kind of hard to see any of the shimmer. Let's see. I forgot to put a little bit of color up there on the cap. I'm going to take a bit of this black. It's very light, and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of that purple color that's there on the side. Just get a little bit of color onto that cap. I'm going to use that color, I think, to start giving me a little bit of shape. Yeah, they are pretty, they are nicely pigmented. I was very surprised, actually. The colors are pigmented. They shimmer on both black and white. You know, different colors work better on top of black versus white. Your lighter colors will give you sort of a sheer shimmer, where your darker colors will give you more pigment look on light color paper, but then your light colors just pop on black paper. So you learn. All right, I want to zoom out just a smidge on that. Good night, Medina. Have a good evening. Sleep well. Let's see, come on. Focus. Maybe I need to zoom in just a little bit. Focus and turn off. All right. So now what I want, I'm done with I'm going to take a bit of the white. I'm going to make my highlight on the glass and then figure out which ones inside need just a touch of a highlight. Hello, Ingie. Nice to meet you. It's always fun to have new folks that find us here. I am grabbing some white gouache now, and this is the Arteza gouache. I have a lot of Arteza products because Arteza has kindly shared things with me to do videos for you guys, and you know, not all the videos that I do with their products are videos for them though, and this one isn't. This is just a video that I'm doing for myself. Now, I'm going across some highly pigmented paints here, so I'm trying to figure out how to do that without smushing the colors underneath too much, because the gouache will pick up the color underneath. And you don't want it to be too wet, but you don't want it to be too dry either. You want it to flow off of your brush. So thank you. Yeah, guys, make sure you've clicked that subscribe button. It really does help. And I appreciate you doing that and being here. One of the reasons why I put that sort of black, a darker purpley color right there is I needed a color so that my white would show up. See, look at that. And I want it to go across some of the colors on the inside, right like that. And I do need to sort of soften that up a little bit. So I am going to end up blurring these colors out just a little, that white, and it will pick up some of the colors underneath. So when I see it picking up in my brush, I'm just wiping my brush off, rinsing it. Yeah, you know, and then taking it across. I'm trying not to rub back and forth. And you do want your highlights to go in the curve of whatever it is you're making. So if it is a ball that you're putting a highlight on, you want your highlight to curve. Let's see. And I need to let that dry before I continue on that one. That highlight below. I'm leaving a little separation between these two because it's like it's a window that this is reflecting from. Sometimes you have to work it a little bit. And it is nice to go and look at actual glass ornaments. I'm going to dry this real quick because I'm feeling like it got a little bit heavy right here, but I can move it back even after it's dry. So you don't want your gouache to be too thick. If you make it too thick, it can flake off, but I want that to get worked back just a little bit. See? Boom. Just work it back. Wipe your brush off and work it back. And then I'm following it along and going that little edge right there. It's going to get worked back. Sheer reflections. Translucency. You see the things that are behind it. And right now that's getting a little bit grayed out, so I will dry it again and make sure and put some brighter white over that. But you can see, like the brighter highlight is on this side, I guess. See how you can see when you see through something? Maybe. It's kind of a shadowy highlight. That would be like on the back side. You can't really see it, but it just gives you that feeling of something in the background. I like it. Grab some of that white again. Get a bit more bright. A bit more bright right here. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for sticking around with me and sharing some of your time, you know. I appreciate that. What is gouache? Gouache is opaque watercolor. It is watercolor that is not transparent, so you can put it white right over the top of dark. You can use gouache over black paper. Let's see. Putting a little bit of highlight up there. Oops. Went a little bit wild there. Ah, take care, Shauna. All right. Movie night. Excellent. See, so you can soften things up if you want them to be a little bit blurry. You can put a shimmer of a color next to some white next to it so it looks like a softened highlight. I think that's good. I think that's really good. Sorry about that. I think I'm going to pull the tape off of this and we're going to see what it looks like. And while I'm doing that, if you're interested in these designs, they are on my Teespring store. The link is listed up above on the chat as a link and in the chat. So I have a book of 31 designs, and Soon it will be an actual printed coloring book that you can buy from Amazon. Right now it is a download product, so you can download the pictures, the whole 31 pictures. But look at that. Doesn't it feel? Oops, we do need to go in and put a few highlights on some of those glass balls in there. They need a little bit of a highlight. See, sometimes you see things and you go, oh, that's right. These are three-dimensional balls inside. It's not painted on. So they got their own little highlights going inside. Have your highlights kind of match the shape of the ornament. Look at that. Just a few here and there. So there you go. And I did just set that down in the paint. Oh well, a little bit on the edge. No big deal. The gouache that I put out is going to dry and I can re-wet it and use it again. Now look, they look like three-dimensional balls inside of a glass ball. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, and go out and do something creative. Take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. And remember, I've got 31 designs and this is day 5. So I'll see you tomorrow.